Hello. So with our new lab kits, you need to learn how to use the Spark timers. So that is what I am going to teach you how to do in this short little video. It's going to be fairly specific to what we're doing for this one, but the same process works all the time in terms of how to deal with the data that you get from it. So let's look at what a piece of tape would look like coming from your ticker tape timers. So if this is your tape and it keeps going down this end for however long it is, we know that as it comes out from the car, if the car is attached here and it's moving this way, then what we will see is to begin with, we will have a lot of dots pretty close together here. And then they're going to start to spread out some. And so your timing sheet should look something like this for this experiment. Now the question is, what do you do with this information, and how do you get data off of this so that you can do the lab? So let's look at how we can measure from here. So I'm going to pick this point here as my 0 point. And the reason I'm not picking the first ones is because all of these clumped together dots that you really can't tell the difference between are before the car started moving. So you need to pick the farthest one to the right that has the next ones are visible to it. Then you want to start picking your data points. Depending on how long your piece of tape is will determine how you're going to do this. If you have a fairly short piece of tape, you then are going to mark off every one of your dots, okay? And you can number them. It will make it easier for you if you do. 1, 2, 3, etc., etc., etc. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make a data table. And in the data table, you are going to put distance, or displacement rather, and time. Now, in order for you to know how to do this time, the one thing that you want to be aware of is the fact that time for these Spark timers is each dot is put down at 1/60th of a second. Okay, so the first dot is at 0, the next dot is at 1/60th of a second, the next dot is at 2/60ths of a second, etc., etc., etc. So if you don't have tons of dots on your paper, then you're going to measure each one of them. The displacement is going to be from the 0 point. So your displacement, you're going to measure from 0 to 1. Oh, I don't know if you can see that one. Let me change to a better color. Is going to be from 0 to 1, from 0 to 2, 0 to 3, etc. So you're going to measure how far it goes from your initial dot to the first one, from the initial dot to the second one, the initial dot to the third one, etc. And your time intervals will be similar. So from 0 to the first dot will be 1/60th of a second. Please put this in decimal form. From 0 to the second dot will be 1/30th. From 0 to the third dot will be 1/20th. Etc., etc., etc. Okay. If you have, say, 30 to 40 dots, this is obviously going to take you quite a while. So the other option of how to do this is to take it into chunks instead. So use each dot if less than 20 total dots. I don't know that you can see this here. Up here, sorry, I think I wrote off the screen. It says each dot is 1/60th of a second. So let me go back and write that a little bit better here. Each dot is 1/60th of a second. Okay, so this is how you need to do it if you have less than 20 total dots on your piece of paper. If you have more than that, then you want to slightly vary it. So now let me again draw our piece of tape one more time. And again, we have the big starting area, and then they're close together. And then they get farther apart. If you have more than 20 dots or so on your paper, then you really don't want to count every single one. You want to count them in groups. So instead, you're going to count so you have 6 dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, I drew that one in the wrong spot. Yeah, so it's really 6 spaces that you want to have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's interval 1. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make this a little bit longer down here. Six, and so from here to here is interval 2. So if this is the case, then you're going to measure every 6 dots. In which case your data table will still be displacement and time, but now your time is going to be 6 1/60ths or 1/10. So the first time interval will be 1/10, the second time interval will be the 2/10, and your displacement will still be from the 0 to the end of the first interval, and then from the 0 to the end of the second interval. And then you should have distance displacement measurements, you should have time measurements, and then you're going to go ahead and make a graph of your displacement and time. I guess I should keep consistent with my variables here, huh? So displacement and time. So again, this you want to do if you have a lot of data points on your tape. The other one you want to do if you only have a few. And what determines whether you have a lot or a few is if you're doing this, if you're counting intervals by 6s and you only get 3 data points, that's not enough. You need to have at least 5 or 6 data points to graph in order for you to see a trend line here. So make sure that you make a good decision about that. But again, you're either going to count every single dot and measure the displacement and the time, or you're going to count in units of 6 and measure the displacement and time. Hope that's helpful. If not, give me an email and I will explain it again. Bye.